money.
Mommy let you use her iPad. You were barely two.
Reach for the sky, but reach for that merchandise. So, the teaser trailer for Toy Story 5 has finally released, and already I'm noticing at least two major red flags with this. Given the fact that several of my most popular videos on this channel happened to center around Toy Story 4 at the time, I think I owe it to myself to address the problems with the Toy Story 5 teaser. I know people are understandably excited because they hold such nostalgic reverence for this series, and as of right now, examining the series as a whole, I can't really pinpoint a movie that was outright terrible in the Toy Story series. Oh sure, people can make cases that Toy Story 4 is the lesser of the series, and that would make sense, but to say it's outright awful, I wouldn't go as far as to say that. With that said, there is still this wide sentiment that the series, on a narrative basis, it should have ended at 3.
But in the case of Toy Story, the third one is just magnificent. It's one of the best movies I've ever seen. And if you've seen the other two, then it's devastating.
Is it a cartoon?
Yeah, well, it's a cartoon. But the thing is, then 3 years later or something, they did a fourth, and I have no desire to see it.
Right.
You literally ended the story as perfect as you could.
Right.
So no, I don't care if it's good. I'm done.
Why put the...
I am done.
Toy Story 4 was basically the equivalent of DLC in a big AAA video game, basically. So now that Toy Story 5 is being released and a certain character has returned from a place he previously departed from, there's already some major flaws. So yeah, needless to say, major spoilers for Toy Story 4, but who cares? The way Toy Story 4's finale was presented was that Woody left the toys who lived at Bonnie's residence because he wanted to give Forky a chance in the limelight because he was the one getting Bonnie's attention, as well as to live free with Bo Peep. And I'm sure there's a few other nuanced implications of that decision that people can inform me in the comments. But needless to say, the decision that Woody made was depicted as somewhat finalized, and people thought, this is it, this is the last Toy Story movie. Not only is it obviously clear that Toy Story 4 is not the last Toy Story movie, but the recent teaser for Toy Story 5 implies that Woody returns to Bonnie's residence. This is already a major problem because it completely disregards the climax of Toy Story 4. If Woody was going to return in Toy Story 5, the least they could have done was give a hint of his return in Toy Story 4 so that it would at least make more sense on a structural basis. But from what I can perceive, it seems more like they were expecting Toy Story 4 to be the last one, just milk it for all it's worth. But then they decided, no, let's milk it a little bit further.
Am I right?
Man alive.
We've got to have money.
It just seemed very counterintuitive to the sense of finality that Toy Story 4 brought. And so now, Woody's returning, so the depicted finality of that decision in Toy Story 4 seems to be all for nothing. And it seems rather thematically jumbled.
Am I right?
I mean, wouldn't that be the equivalent of, say, at the end of Up, that Ellie comes back from the dead and tells Carl, no, you should have gotten that house all the way to Paradise Falls, and we could have lived the rest of our lives at Paradise Falls. It would have been so counterintuitive to the message that that movie was trying to convey. Another major red flag is the main reveal of the plot structure. So, from what I understand, the main plot of Toy Story 5 is going to be the toys' conflict with Bonnie's new interest in up and rising technology. Now, don't get me wrong, that premise in and of itself isn't a bad one, especially in this postmodern day and age when a lot of us have become tragically aware of the downsides of the addiction of technology and the disillusionment with the surface level appeal of stuff like social media, and with stuff like the rise of AI, which Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Fowl addressed. Yes, it does seem fair to address this topic. I know there's going to be fanatics out there who say, oh no, this movie's going to glorify technology, but I have a feeling that there might just be another phase of what happened with the 2019 Joker movie. You know what I mean? When people were getting fanatic about, oh no, the Joker movie's gonna make people violent, but people took it as what it was meant to be, a cautionary tale. I assume that's what it was meant to be. And people got more sympathetic towards the more quiet types as well as other stuff. You know, cautionary tales do a great service in making us more sympathetic and aware of certain things that need to be addressed in our society. So I would imagine that as a result of this movie, people are going to be cautious of technology and its addictive pool, and that if you're going to use it in a constructive, responsible manner. If Toy Story 5 is going all in on that aspect, by all means, go ahead. I think that's something that children and adults need to hear about in this very day. But the reason why I still call this a red flag is that on a narrative structural basis, it is pretty much a beat for beat repeat of the plot from the first Toy Story movie. Think about it. Toys fear getting replaced by the new gimmicky thing that will take their owner's attention away from them and onto the gimmicky thing. With Toy Story 1, it was the conflict between Woody and Buzz Lightyear. In Toy Story 5, it's the conflict between the toys and the technology. And I know there's probably going to be some people out there who will try to defend that aspect of Toy Story 5 and say, but the theme of the fear of rejection has been a common theme throughout the entire series. And yes, that is true, but there's various ways you can depict that and still be thematically relevant. Here in Toy Story 5, however, it, from what I understand, and this is a teaser trailer, so it's too early to say, but from what I've seen, it's a beat-for-beat copy of the first Toy Story film, at least in regards to its initial premise. So, I want to make it clear, this is all just first impressions from the initial teaser trailer. Maybe this will be another hit. I mean, so far there hasn't been a really awful Toy Story movie. I know there's people online who will say, Toy Story 4 should never exist, it's a bane to our existence. But, you know, compared to other movies out there, it's really not that bad. Though something tells me Toy Story 5 is on its way to be the weakest in the Toy Story franchise. And as far as everyone is aware, Woody has come back and they're repeating a certain plot beat in Toy Story just so that Pixar and by in turn Disney can milk all the money for all it's worth at the expense of narrative integrity.
Am I right?
This is too early to say for now, but let's be honest. The feelings are there for a reason. So, what do you think about Toy Story 5? Do you find it problematic? Do you think it has potential? Let me know in the comments down below, and I look forward to further conversations. In the meantime, ScotsThinker signing out. Sporky? It was Forky, yes.